Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't stay still for long after launch. Over the months that followed, Ubisoft steadily expanded and refined the game with a mix of free updates, mechanical overhauls, crossover events, and a full story expansion. Some additions fundamentally changed how the game plays, others simply smoothed out rough edges, but together, they've made Shadows a noticeably bigger and more confident experience than it was on day one. Here is everything that's been added to Assassin's Creed Shadows since launch.
But to break the chains, to free the imprisoned, is that not the ultimate realization of our personhood?
The most substantial post-launch addition is Claws of Awaji, the game's first and only large-scale expansion. Released in September 2025, the DLC introduces Awaji Island, a brand new region filled with its own settlements, enemy factions, and storylines. Claws of Awaji adds more than 10 hours of new story content, continuing the tales of Naoe and Yasuke beyond the base game's ending, meaning you'll have to have completed the main story before this content is accessible. Along the way, players gain access to new quests, abilities, weapons, and gear, along with fresh combat challenges that take advantage of the expanded progression systems introduced in post-launch. Rather than feeling like a side story, the expansion acts as a true continuation, giving players a meaningful reason to return after finishing the main campaign. Ubisoft has since confirmed that Claws of Awaji is the only expansion of this scale planned for Shadows, marking a shift away from the multi-expansion approach used in recent Assassin's Creed titles.
And darkness followed in her wake.
One of the most requested features arrived in mid-2025 with the addition of New Game Plus, allowing players to replay the main story while keeping their unlocked gear, abilities, and progression. For players who want to approach the campaign with a fully realized build, or simply make different choices without starting from scratch, it was a welcome addition. Progression itself has expanded significantly over time. Ubisoft gradually raised the level cap until it eventually reached 100, while knowledge ranks were extended to allow for deeper mastery and specialization. New weapons, armor sets, and hideout improvements were added alongside these changes, giving high-level players more meaningful goals long after the credits rolled. For players looking for a stiffer challenge, post-launch updates introduced Nightmare difficulty, a mode that dramatically increases enemy aggression, awareness, and damage output. Stealth mistakes become far more punishing, and combat encounters demand tighter execution, turning even familiar encounters into genuine tests. Outside of difficulty, Ubisoft delivered a steady stream of gameplay and quality of life improvements. Horse autopathing on roads made long-distance travel more hands-off, while bulk selling and dismantling options helped keep inventories under control. You can now manually change the time of day using a level 2 Nando, allowing you to traverse during the day and stealth at night. Skill respecs allowed for experimentation without permanent consequences, and visual toggles, including headgear visibility during cutscenes, gave players more control over presentation.
Go on.
Not all of Shadow's post-launch additions were tied to expansions or major systems. Several free updates added new quests at no additional cost, including missions that were originally exclusive to pre-order bonuses and later unlocked for everyone. These quests expand on side characters and regional conflicts, adding extra context to the political tensions woven throughout the game's version of feudal Japan. Ubisoft also leaned into replayable content. New challenge-based activities encourage players to revisit familiar areas with altered objectives, tougher enemy setups, or unique reward structures. The most notable of these additions were Corrupted Castles, which reworked existing castle locations into repeatable in-game challenges, with tougher conditions, remixed enemy placements, and exclusive rewards. Corrupted Castles transformed previously one-and-done locations into ongoing skill tests for stealth and combat-focused builds. Parkour, a series hallmark, received meaningful attention in later updates. Ubisoft introduced advanced parkour options that relaxed several of the game's stricter movement constraints, giving players more control over traversal and reducing moments where obvious jumps or climbs were inexplicably denied. These updates added new mechanics, including improved side and back ejects and a vertical ledge jump that allows characters to reach low overhangs without an awkward setup. Vaulting and wall transitions were also smoothed out, making rooftop navigation faster and more reliable, especially in dense towns where momentum matters. It's not a full overhaul of the Assassin's Creed movement, but it does make traversal feel more fluid, and less like the game is second-guessing your inputs. One of the quieter but more substantial upgrades came to photo mode, which was significantly expanded through free updates. Players gained access to time of day controls, additional poses and facial expressions, headgear toggles, adjustable camera speeds, custom frames, colorized stickers, music playback during photo editing, and savable filters. On PC, full screen preview options further improved usability. The result is one of the most feature-rich photo modes in the series, and one that's been heavily embraced by players capturing Shadow's landscapes, cities, and combat moments. Ubisoft has also supported Assassin's Creed Shadows with a series of free crossover events and seasonal additions. These include collaboration quests inspired by properties such as Dead by Daylight, Balatro, and Attack on Titan, each bringing themed missions, cosmetics, trinkets, and hideout decorations. While these crossovers were smaller in scope than the main expansion, they added variety and collectible rewards, offering reasons to check back in between larger updates. Later updates included entirely new systems aimed at extending the endgame. Animus Rifts added a new experience with puzzle elements and narrative hooks, while Projects introduced a new progression track with exclusive rewards like weapons and trinkets. Quality of life additions also continued here, including faster vault access directly from gameplay menus, daily exchange offers for progression resources, and improvements to how activities like corrupted castles persist across saves and seasons. Claws of Awaji represents the largest post-launch addition to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Ubisoft again has confirmed that it does not plan to release any other expansion at the same scale. Future support is expected to focus on smaller updates, balance tweaks, and continued quality of life improvements rather than another major story DLC. According to their most recent roadmap, the Nintendo Switch 2 launch could very well be the last time Assassin's Creed Shadows makes major headlines. Even so, Assassin's Creed Shadows has changed considerably since launch, with expanded progression, tougher difficulty options, improved parkour, replayable in-game activities, crossover events, and a full story expansion. The game that exists now is a broader, smoother, and more flexible experience than the one players first stepped into. Whether you're jumping back into Assassin's Creed Shadows after a long break or booting it up for the first time, we've got loads of guides to help you get started on your journey. So make sure to check those out, and also head on over to IGN.com to see even more in-depth guides, as well as a stellar interactive map. And of course, for everything else Assassin's Creed and video games in general, stick with IGN.